This video is brought to you by Game Maker. If you've ever wanted to get into game development, Game Maker does this really crazy thing where it's free. Just start making and only pay when you want to release your game to the world commercially.
It's fast, it's user-friendly, and there's easy-to-follow tutorials, plus a dedicated community to help answer even my questions. How make man jump? Game Maker is a 2D game engine that's helped bring some of yours and my favorite recent experiences to life, like UFO 50, Chicory, Anton Blast, and of course, Yahtzee's own Starstruck Vagabond.
Ooh, we talking about Game Maker? I love that program, it's so easy to use. As well as Starstruck Vagabond, I also used it to make all 12 projects in my 12 games in 12 months Dev Diary challenge. And I couldn't believe how much sex I got out of that. None. I got none at all, which I couldn't believe.
So what are you waiting for? Head on over to the Game Maker link in the description and start cracking away today, because we want to play your game.
Yeah, looking through this list, I'm seeing one of you made Armpit Fart Tycoon, and I've got several questions for you.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to Firelink Podcast, episode number 54 for Wednesday, February 12th, 2025. My name is Marty Sleva, and as always, joined by Casey Wosu, Nick Calandra, and producer Eric. Welcome, everyone. We have a very exciting show for you today. We're going to talk about the Warner Brothers news, which I'm going to be honest, both Warner Brothers and the Warner sister, Yakko, Wacko, and Dot, have not had a good couple of years, and there's some updates on that front, including a story from Bloomberg. And then, of course, as you can see, our main topic, we just got done watching a PlayStation State of Play. It was about 45 minutes long. We didn't stream it, partly because it ran during Yahtzee Tries, and partly because I don't know, I still got a bug, and so I was like, I got one stream in me. And it could be a live watch along, or it could be a podcast, and it can't be both. You know what? And we decided Firelink is more important. That's what we decided. Welcome, everyone. How are you guys doing?
I do not have a high fever. I'm doing all right.
That's
on that
great.
front, at least.
You just wait. It comes for all of us eventually.
I was doing good till about 2 seconds ago when I lost my Balatro run. So, well, I won, but I played endless and then it ended.
I don't understand Balatro. You
said I lost. You said it was endless. Why did it end?
Because I lost, but I
I'm
already.
glad
I had
someone
already
else is on team. I just don't get Balatro because I also do you also not get Wallace and Gromit?
I haven't watched Wallace and Gromit in a long time. I remember liking it, but maybe if I watched it today, I'd feel differently. But I don't care enough to like go try really hard. So yeah, indifferent maybe.
How do you try really hard to watch something?
You can say, "Oh, I'm gonna watch that." Like I write it down somewhere, and then like,
okay, that's a lot of effort. You're right.
It is.
You can try real hard. You know who hasn't been trying? Well, they've been trying, but I don't know if they've been succeeding. But our good friends over at Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment, coming off news a few weeks ago that David Haddad, their former president, leaving his role after 12 years. A Bloomberg report also just came out in the wake of obviously things like the Suicide Squad completely bombing last year, and then the news that Multiverses was shuttering less than a year after its official launch, which I know, Casey, you definitely have some thoughts about that. But just sort of trouble in Warner Brothers Interactive as a whole. Bloomberg has a piece that chronicles the troubles that's been going on with Monolith's Wonder Woman, which is a project we've been talking about since it was revealed a few years ago at the Game Awards. Apparently, in the past 4 years since its 2021 reveal, the project last year was rebooted and changed directors and kind of just started from scratch, and is now expected to cost well over $100 million. And there's a chance it never even comes out. And this is also following news that Rocksteady is reportedly transitioning back into a single-player Batman game. What that is, if that's a Batman Beyond game, if that's in the Arkham universe. That remains to be seen. But just another one of those big publishers that seems like they're kind of in trouble, and kind of rudderless and directionless, save for one game, which has kind of been keeping them afloat the last 3 years or so. But Nick, I know
Mortal Kombat.
I'm not talking about Mortal Kombat. I'm talking about
Hogwarts
Legacy.
Legacy.
Oh,
34 million copies.
It's easy to forget that Hogwarts Legacy
I
was Warner
forgot
Brothers,
that was a thing.
but how big it was. Warner, I believe Hogwarts Legacy at this point has sold more than the Arkham trilogy combined.
Yeah, 34 million copies.
And it was the biggest game of 2023. It was bigger than Tears of the Kingdom, bigger than Baldur's Gate 3. That is a generationally big game.
That's big. Is that bigger than what Elden Ring sold?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah. Well, yeah. Not because Elden Ring was a prior year, but yes, I believe this was bigger than Elden Ring.
Okay.
But again, it makes sense. It's much more, I think, approachable. Yeah. But Nick, you're going to be writing a little bit about this in your Unpack this week. What are your kind of overhead thoughts on it?
Yeah, I have a paragraph in my Unpack that's basically like, I've written the same story since I restructured Unpack almost a month ago now. I've written the same story almost every single week, where
between publisher,
between Sony, between EA, between Ubisoft, now Warner Brothers, all of these publishers have these really talented teams focused on single player games that worked, that sold well, tried to make them all go to live service, had it end poorly, and then the teams all get screwed over because of it, and whoever was leading that leaves with a golden parachute for doing it. And that's exactly what this dad, I'm gonna call him Hey Dad, Hey Dad guy did, where he's resigning. He worked there from 2013. He became head of games in 2015 at Warner Bros. Didn't work in the games industry before that. He came from the entertainment and toys industry. And basically just another corporate guy that doesn't play video games, doesn't understand the language of video games. And then the company just hasn't produced. And so I was going back and looking at the release schedule of Warner Bros. And you can almost see his footprint in their release schedule the second that he got control of things, because between 2013 and 2015, they released Batman Arkham Knight, and then Mad Max and Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor. And the very first big game under his tenure would have been Middle-earth Shadow of War. And if you remember that game had a huge controversy around it because it had loot boxes and microtransactions in a single-player game. And who do you think that came from? And then since then, they've had Back 4 Blood, Gotham, Back 4 Blood, Gotham Knights, Suicide Squad, Multiverses, the Harry Potter Quidditch game, which everybody was like, why is there no Quidditch in Hogwarts Legacy? This doesn't make sense. Oh, it's because they're going to make it a separate project as a live service thing, which has tanked. And then Hogwarts Legacy, nobody did. And then Hogwarts Legacy, which obviously sold very well and was also a tumultuously developed project. So this guy got to run Warner Bros.' game division for a decade. Had all these failures under him, and then he just gets to resign and walk away in January after Monolith has lost all of their leadership. They went on to form Cliffhanger Games at EA and are working on a Black Panther game now. Rocksteady lost pretty much all of its leadership. They're working at 100 Star Games now, their own studio, making a project with Xbox. Who knows what happened to Warner Bros. Montreal, who worked on Batman Arkham Origins. And then they were working apparently on a Flash game that got canceled after the movie, because of course it did.
They said someone at some point was working on a Constantine game.
Same studio, Warner Bros. Montreal, and so their leadership has left. Yeah, who's going to want to come into work for these companies, these studios, when you have executive leadership that just continually screws you? It's the same thing in games and media. It's these guys don't read, watch, play games, talk about gaming news, engage with it at all, milk everything dry until they can, and then they lose all their leadership. And why is their brand dead? I don't know. You drove everybody with talent out.
Casey, what's your takeaway from this?
like clearly this David Haddad guy was the sort of business type who was just following the tea leaves. Like, this is what makes a company money as per written by the book of business. And so he just followed that playbook. And we've seen this basically play out across all the other publishers to the same effect for the most part. But his origins as a toy guy makes sense to me. Like, Nintendo started as a toy company.
Even his origins are Harvard business guy. But
that's a good school. Like, you graduate from Harvard Business, I would assume you know business, but I don't know. Maybe it's a legacy. I don't know.
Maybe that's kind of the problem, though. I think like business, you have to be in the business of art. You have to understand the art to understand the business of art.
That's a very difficult thing to juggle, because like the reality of the situation is, and I'm not trying to defend CEOs, God no. But the reality of the situation is, like, if you're a creative type and you're an artist and you want to make art, a lot of times if that's your focus and your passion, you're not going to go down the path of knowing how to run a business at all. And then it's vice versa for the folks who are like, I love running businesses and transaction making and the art of the deal and stuff. They're not going to be an artsy fartsy guy who can look at the passion of a creative and be like, this part is equally as important as we have to set up this system to make money. The problem is that there's a lack of respect for what both sides are doing, honestly, from both sides. Like, a lot of creatives are like, and I am part of this problem as well. A lot of creatives are like, man, CEOs do not know what the F they're doing. They're effing everything up. And that is true. But like, if artists were left to their own devices, like, folks would just not sell anything, or stuff would just never get finished. Like, we hear that story all the time.
Yeah, we have that problem here, where even at Sega, it's like, I'm so focused on the business part, and everybody else is very artistically focused. You got to have a balance of it.
Yeah, like, there has to be a balance, and like we do lose sight of that. Like, this situation sucks, and like, I agree that the direction that WB has gone has focused way too much on the business part, and that's across the industry. Everybody has been doing exactly this. So maybe it's just about that time that the pendulum starts to swing. Like, maybe we'll start to see, especially because of a lot of these forced exoduses from these companies, that new companies spring up.
Use the plural of exodus.
Exodi.
I haven't talked to anyone in several days. So I haven't left my house. So I'm sorry.
No, but basically what I'm saying is, like, like, these newer, more indie light companies that have the taste of the big business but are run by those creatives, maybe they are learning a little bit. We'll start to see that balance play out a little better, but eventually they'll get big and then they'll get lost in the weeds, and the cycle repeats itself.
I noted that even in my own backstory. It's not like, we love to say executives. Like, there's of course some games are just bad. And then also, like, we've seen independent studios, as Marty, made that whole list of upcoming studios, make some of the same mistakes of chasing, the extraction shooter trend or the competitive Valorant trend, or whatever you want to call it. Like, definitely, people that think they know more than they actually do go independent and make those same mistakes.
It's been top down from Warner Brothers Discovery, right? We've seen the same thing on the streaming front. We've seen the same thing with how they handled their DC slate, with how they've handled Game of Thrones, after, of kind of not having these, what they think are extremely valuable IP in DC and Harry Potter and Game of Thrones and it. I almost said E.T. That's the other vowel and a T. And not knowing, what do we do with it? And it's like, well, let's just like squeeze blood from this stone and see what we can do, and be like, oh, you want 10 different series on streaming, right? And you want to kind of devalue this thing. And it feels, a lot of it feels creatively bankrupt. And just my hope is, like, it just seems like this is happening across every single corner of the industry. And I just have to hope that this feels like a turning point. And one of two things can happen. It can turn and we can start seeing good decisions made, or these ships just sink and we just lose. We lose our recipes, and we lose these studios, and I don't know. It's something that sucks, but Yeah, when you think about it, but then again, you have this one success from them in the last few years that is one of the biggest successes in gaming. This the 2020s.
Will they repeat it though? That's the question. Because now of course they want to go bigger, better, make even more copies. Was like Hogwarts Legacy, is the sequel going to sell as good? I don't know.
Like the thing with WB in particular is they, like a lot of studios, wish they had the IP library that a company like WB does, right? Because the idea of making a video game based on any number of things that they have in their portfolio should just print money. Like the Harry Potter thing is a no-brainer. Stuff like the Justice League characters, no-brainer. The idea of a IP-based Smash clone where they actually embrace the live service model of like, the game is free to play, but you pay for skins, whatever. That was honestly brilliant. Like in the most cynical way possible, that was a good idea for that game and series and whatnot, and they still messed it up. So it's like something was rotten.
Not only did they screw it up, but didn't they like fundamentally kind of break the game in between when it was first playable and in early access, and then it went dormant for they took it away for like a year, and then when it came back, the game was worse.
Yeah, like they launched it in beta, claimed it was a beta, whatnot. It got a lot of hype and playtime, but I believe it started to wane, and so they took that as an opportunity to relaunch it. They just wiped the slate clean, went dark for I don't know, half a year, like about a year, something like that, and then relaunched it, and it felt worse. In like a lot of ways, felt worse. And no criticism ever got through to fix how bad it felt until after it was announced that they were closing the studio. Like it was like the day they announced that the game was going offline, the very next patch was like, hey, we fixed the speed of how the characters move and feel.
Did you have you looked into this story much? Like why did they make these changes that made it worse?
I honestly don't know. Yeah, like it's not something I dug really deep into because I liked how it felt at first, but then like I lost interest after it disappeared. Like if it was a thing that maybe they kept out there and like continued to improve as people were talking about it, but like it seemed like they hit the panic button when the player base went down.
Yeah, it seems like stupid to sunlight the game when you could just keep tweaking it to hit that right spot when you had at least the characters and everything seemed fun.
Yeah. Like there was a really good base there. And again, like the idea on paper was super strong.
50 million down the drain.
It's sad.
Yeah. It's weird. Yeah. I guess I don't know what, like the Warner Brothers, they own NetherRealm, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And like, I think the Mortal Kombat games still sell well, seemingly.
Yeah. Mortal Kombat one's
like enough to recoup. I don't know, enough to recoup dev costs. I guess I don't know what dev costs on a game like that is. If they have to pay for all the therapy of the artists who have to fucking model that stuff every year. But
they have a human cadaver budget.
Yeah. I'm curious what NetherRealm, because they've very often ping pong back and forth between a Mortal Kombat thing and a non-Mortal Kombat thing, and I'm just curious if they're working on an Injustice 3 or what they might be doing next, or if they're trying to spin off, or maybe they're trying to gain independence, or someone else might buy. I could see Warner Brothers going the route like kind of what Square did with their Western studios, where there's kind of a fire sale on their, each studio kind of goes a separate way, and then Warner Brothers treats their IP like Disney is now, where instead of having internal studios, they say, okay, EA, you can make a Disney thing, and Ubisoft, you can make a Disney thing, and all that.
Yeah, it might work out better for them, right? To just license the stuff.
Yeah.
It seems like that's where they're going to head anyways, because I'm sure Monolith is already not the Monolith that made Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War. Their talent, all their directors left to go form that studio Cliffhanger. Same thing probably with Rocksteady at this point. I bet what's left of that studio after Suicide Squad at this point. It's like unfortunate, but I'd like if those studios don't produce something in the next couple of years, like I guarantee, I can definitely see them getting shut down and then just Warner Bros. Licensing out their properties. But
it just publisher we're gonna have this story on.
The next big one.
I mean, we've just done this with everyone. Square.
Probably Square.
Well, they've kind of already restructured themselves because they canceled a bunch of those games, and
and
I think the Japanese industry, the Japanese industry did this like last generation, basically had this whole cycle out of studios and talent and everything like that, and then Capcom kind of really came back to the forefront. Konami seems to be going through that right now.
I was shocked when a game. We'll talk about it later, but they showed a game and they're like from Konami at the showcase.
That was quite
from
rare.
who? Like they make games?
Games.
Like I know they still have IP, but I didn't know they just make a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Sony, Warner Bros. Both going through it right now. Ubisoft is the one that I expect to see really big changes from this year, and they've already started that. I would imagine even before the end of quarter one, and by the end of March, we're going to hear even more changes there.
I don't know what other I guess Take-Two has already gone through those same changes as well. Like Take-Two, 2K. Yeah, I don't know. It's
EA's FC didn't sell as much as like FIFA did before, right? Like I feel like I heard that story.
Yeah,
that's was that just canceled?
No. That was you're thinking of Football Manager. Yeah, which sells a lot. The story behind that is like they basically their engine hasn't kept up, and so they've been making a brand new engine or moving the game onto Unity. And this current iteration of Football Manager 25 was basically just not ready. It's a shoddy kind of launch, so it's smart of them to cancel that rather than release a shoddy product and hurt their brand in the long run.
Yeah. But that was that's right, Eric. Thank you.
Yeah. No, like EA. I covered EAFC in my Unpack last week, and that's the real reason for EA's stock dropping hard. Was because like that is their money machine game. That game sells millions every single year. Microtransactions from Ultimate Team bring them even more money than just selling the game. Mm-hmm. So less people buying the game probably has investors spooked. But what next year is it? This year or next year? There's World Cup year, so I imagine whatever version comes out this year is going to sell quite well.
Yeah. A couple super chats before moving on to Sony stuff. Sticking with games before I move back to the first one. Inverse Guys with $3 Australian. Thank you so much. Says I miss Super Nintendo era Konami. It's funny if you weren't around or like paying attention during the Super Nintendo PS1 into the PS2 era, like Konami was as big as anyone, especially the PS1 with Symphony of the Night and Silent Hill and Metal Gear and Suikoden. Like they were at the top of the totem pole, and now they're just they're kind of jokes, but also it seems like they are trying to come back in a way that and we've seen it before. Like Capcom hit a pretty low point 10, 15 years ago, and look how they've come back now, and we constantly regard them as like one of the top tier third party developers and publishers. So
do we know if that has a correlation to any sort of leadership moving? Like I've never actually looked into that.
Well, I know 10 years ago is when the Kojima stuff went down. Obviously that wasn't all Kojima, but
no, I meant for Capcom. Sorry,
for Capcom. Excuse me. Yeah, I actually don't know that either. I know for a lot of Japanese developers, the transition into the HD era was really hard.
Rough, yeah.
Not just into the 3D, but into literally like the 360 PS3 generation. Like it was just like that was kind of like where a spike in development happened that a lot of people legacy developers weren't prepared for. And so that's why you saw a lot of growing pains around then. And I guess it was either adapt or die, and some people adapted, some people took a long time to adapt, and some people died. Not literally died, although some people I'm sure literally died somewhere, because that's how
that's just circle of life.
It's just circle of life.
I think that's like the Western publishers is just really going through that adapt or die right now, getting out of live service, getting their forecasts right, changing the expectations of shareholders that they're not going to be infinitely growing forever and ever and ever on these live service games. Like, you have your tent poles. Yeah, you have your tent poles that do bring in constant money, like FIFA and stuff like that. But even those, sometimes interest wanes on that. So I don't, Call of Duty. Is Call of Duty ever going to hit the highs of Black Ops 6 again? I guess we'll see.
Who can say?
No. The Man in Black with a $5 dono. Thank you so much, Man in Black. Casey, congrats on your son getting his black belt. What does he train, and how long did it take him?
He is a Taekwondo master because he has a black belt now.
Do you have to refer to him as that?
What happened?
Do you have to refer to him as master?
No. he doesn't teach me anything. But he's been training for like 6 years now. He started when he was 4. He's 11 now. I'm bad at math, so just do that math for me.
That's 7, Casey.
It's 7. All right, 7 years. It took him 7 years.
Started when he was 4?
When he's 4, yeah.
Holy shit.
See, I've said before on this podcast, it's not a bad idea for me to, if I have a son, put him on, or even a daughter, put them on skates by like 2 years old, and they'll be in the NHL, and then they'll pay for my retirement.
I don't think the point isn't. I don't think Casey did this to be like, this is gonna be my life raft through life. I'm not gonna have to work anymore. I think it's just like, hey, it's good to build this character and moral fiber in you at a young age.
My only talent is games media, and once that runs out, I'm just done.
So how are you going to teach a spawn of yours hockey if you
I know
talent games media? Oh,
I'm good at
that's
hockey.
another talent.
I can't play the NHL because of my heart problem.
That's the only reason.
That's the only thing stopping you.
Yeah, so hopefully my hereditary problems don't screw my
That was all it was.
That's how genes work, by the way.
What chutzpah. What gumption you have to be like, I could have been in the NHL if it would just work for this heart.
Work my ticker.
Yeah, I played semi-pro roller hockey.
A lot of people play semi-pro things.
Nah. Fuck you, Eric. I saw that image.
And then close friend of the show, Fat Cock, thank you so much for the $2 dono. I thought Konami was content on making slot machines. I mean, you can do that as well.
They still are. That's what's funding their games.
They want to make more money. So they're like, what was that thing we used to be really good at? Video games? All right, yeah. Let's see how that works again.
Okay, let's try those again.
Their pachinko games are where you're getting all these remasters of Silent Hill and Metal Gear.
It's funding all of the game development.
Silent Hill 2 wasn't bad. So if it's a
good start.
If they're weird pachinko machines, although I have some thoughts on this Metal Gear one, which I guess we'll get to in our main topic right now, which is the PlayStation State of Play. We just got done watching it like an hour or two ago. It was about 45 minutes. Sony showed off a bunch of things, mostly third party. I think 1 or 2 first party projects. We can kind of just go through it really quick in order, and some things are just a sentence, and other things we could dig deeper on. But I guess just at a top level, Casey, I assume you had a chance to watch it.
Yeah, I watched through the whole thing. I tried to take notes as well as to anything that sparked a little interest in me. But if you want to go down the list, we could just follow.
I guess just top level. What did you think? It was a good show, bad show?
I thought it was a good show. It was quick. It got to the point. They showed a lot of games, which is great. And a lot of the games they showed just looked really freaking cool. And a lot of the stuff was just stuff we hadn't seen before either. So and they didn't waste our time by telling us it's a world premiere.
Yeah, they did fit in 45 minutes. They fit a lot of. I think it was 25 things.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, Nick, did you have any high level thoughts before we just jump into it?
Yeah, I'm just keeping track of stuff for my fantasy board. Got a release date for Hell Is Us. I'm excited to see that. I don't remember if I put Borderlands 4 on my list or not. I think I did. I think I put a 2K game on there.
There's no way to know.
But we got a release date for that too. So I don't know.
Yeah, we got a couple of release dates.
Yeah, we got a couple release dates.
Untitled Mario 3D platformer wasn't there.
Yeah,
at the Sony show.
True.
No, yeah,
it was a bummer.
I was actually surprised to see nothing about the Xbox games coming to PlayStation, like Forza Horizon or anything like that. I thought maybe Xbox might give them some money to promote those, but
yeah, and would have felt like having a quick segment of it where Phil Spencer or Sarah Bond or someone is like, oh, and continuing
invading your space.
Continuing.
I don't know.
Think so?
That as much as they're taking the high road in terms of being like, well, we want to put our games on the places where everyone is playing, so that everyone. It's like a new level of eating crow if they got to show up on Sony's showcase to be told like, "Hey, buy our games over here now." Like that feels a little.
I'm trying to remember how MLB The Show got announced on Xbox. It might have just been a press release, but like I'm trying to think if it was during a showcase or okay, it wasn't like a
it wasn't like a rub it in your face type of thing. And I feel like Microsoft is well aware that just the novelty of hey, these big Xbox games are coming to PlayStation, like that will do a lot of the talking on its own. They don't have to show up at a Sony showcase or pay any money to actually do that. For them.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So yeah, things started off.
They could have said PlayStations and Xbox, so that'd been fun.
I mean, at the end of this year,
they will eventually.
There honestly might be more first-party Xbox games on PlayStation this year than there are PlayStation games this year. So first-party Sony games. So we'll see. The first game they showed off really quick was just Monster Hunter Wilds. Obviously, still coming out February 28th. The only thing they updated was Mizusune. He's coming in the spring update.
Yeah, a bubble dragon.
Is that the man we know?
That guy. Okay, yeah, so I recognize that guy. He was in Rise. He's a very pretty bubble dragon.
So the monsters they're kind of like Pokemon, where like if like a Gyarados shows up in a trailer, I'm like, oh shit, that's Gyarados. It's not like no one knows who this monster is. Like
it's just that there are so many monsters that most people don't know if these are new or not. And I do think they keep making new monsters. So like they
also all kind of look the same to me. I don't know if that's offensive, but like they're all just sort of like cool lizards.
That's the thing. There are a lot of non-lizards in the franchise. Like it's just that the stuff that they were
how come they don't show
giving to America? Because Americans like Americans like dragons, right? Give them dragons and dinosaurs.
Love lizards.
But they're starting to ease the more weird creatures. And like Rise had some real weirdos.
Yeah. I still think this game's gonna be really big. And it's interesting. There's just not a whole lot like it, except the thing that sounds the most like it this year were the first hands-on previews of Elden Ring Nightrain came out today. And there's like a closed network or open network test or something this weekend of it. Sounds a little bit. It's got a little bit of Monster Hunter in the fact that it's just three people running around trying to get loot as fast as they can. It is not a 1-to-1 apples to apples comparison.
You don't get loot fast in Monster Hunter. You gotta grind that shit out.
That sounds like you've never played Monster Hunter.
I haven't. I'm just saying, in terms of three people running around an arena fighting beasties, running around a world fighting beasties and trying to get loot and cooler weapons and kit out. Like I think there is a similarity between the two of those. But Elden Ring's not coming out until the end of May.
Yeah, and I also watched some of those, one of those previews. I'm kind of really excited. I think it looks really fun.
Wait, for Elden Ring or
Elden Ring Nightrain?
I was surprised by my interest in that, which it wasn't in the showcase, but we should talk about it for a second because you're right. Those previews did come out today, and I was kind of shocked at what it actually is.
Which it's like a co-op PvE battle royale.
It's not battle royale at all.
But it has the trappings of it.
It has the trappings of
you gotta go fast.
It's
grab all the stuff and then you level up to get the bosses.
So I'm like trying to in my unpack this week. I'm breaking down what this game is because it's kind of weird. So it's like a mix of an extraction game almost with the Elden Ring trappings plus a battle royale plus a roguelike.
Yeah, it's all of weird. Those things.
And also, you don't create your own character. There's classes basically with archetypes, and it's interesting. It is not something I thought I was going to be interested in, but after watching the previews, I was like, you know what? I can see my friends maybe playing this with me.
This feels like a Netflix algorithm made this game. But a lot of times that works, and that's what's scary.
Sure. Over in our Patreon, Dower Dodger at the $5 tier commented, thank you so much, Dower Dodger, thoughts on FromSoft selling DLC before it's even being released in regards to the Nightrain Deluxe Edition seems like an uncharacteristic move from them. That is one thing about this, is this feels, so this thing is this is going to be a $40 standalone game, and from it doesn't sound like there's any like you get a discount if you own Elden Ring or something. But in the deluxe edition, sort of the fine print, they mention DLC down the line, like paid DLC down the line. And I don't know if that's going to be cosmetic DLC or if that's going to be, oh, we're introducing new biomes or new character classes, because it sounds very much like you pick a character. You don't build a character. You choose like one of 8 distinct characters. So, despite the previews were positive, but I am still I chose this as my negative game or whatever that pick is in the draft.
Counter pick thing,
the counter pick. And it's very possible this thing is going to do well, but I could see this being that game that you know, the pitchforks finally come out for our beloved child.
My biggest question is the longevity of it. Like, are the runs different enough to keep you wanting to come back? And also, I'm not done watching the previews yet, but like, what is the reward for finishing a run? Did they say?
Give you a big kiss.
Yeah, I have no idea.
The satisfaction of winning. Because like, I feel like so many multiplayer games like have that problem of just not having any progression anymore. You don't have anything to work towards. That's like Call of Duty's still addicted because you prestige and then you have to work towards unlocking everything again.
Because the enjoyment is the journey.
Well, I mean, it can be, but yeah,
I think that's what they might be banking on.
Yeah, I guess those memorable moments kind of stuff, you know, that you get from Extraction and Battle Royale and all that. Like that's
do it with friends.
Yeah.
Jomo Slomo in the chat actually knows. You get 60 seconds in Swamp Heaven.
I don't want that.
you get to make out with a basilisk. So did either of you guys get into the network test?
No.
I didn't. I forgot.
Yeah, I didn't even try.
Oh, you guys didn't. Oh, I got it. So the one person who shouldn't have got it. Great.
Through
104-degree fever, I'll play it and be like, I don't understand what's going on. Feels like Monster Hunter to me.
The Monster Hunter network test just passed too, so you could have gone either way. You made your choice.
Maybe I did. Yeah, maybe I got into the other one. Who knows?
Maybe you were playing Monster Hunter and thought it was nightrain.
All big beasts.
You know, there's a bunch of people in chat saying like, I have no interest in this. Like, I don't think it's for you, really. I think it's for the people that wanted multiplayer Elden Ring.
And
mods tried to make it happen, so why not?
Think of it this way, in all honesty. Elden Ring broke out from that hardcore Souls formula, and a ton of people was like, this isn't for me. Like, they bought it because of the hype and turned around and was like, I'm too casual for this. This version of Elden Ring is for all of those casual people who, you're right, maybe they have already checked out. Like, they won't come back for a sequel, but maybe some of them will. Elden Ring sold a lot to a much wider audience. There might be a lot of folks who are looking for something like more casual.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun game for us to stream here on Second Wind.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
That'll be good. Now I'm excited. I just thought of that, and now I'm excited for it. So there you go.
The only way you can be excited for a game is if you could turn it into work.
No, because some folks are talking about the like, this probably won't bring in as much money as they want. But like, think of like, they reused everything they already had to build this.
Yeah, this is a small project.
Yeah, like this isn't something that cost them a ton. So whatever this makes, they might be in the black. Yeah,
this almost feels like a game jam thing, like an internal game jam idea that they were like, well, fuck it. Okay, we can give you enough resources and a small team to be able to work on this.
I mean, this thing's going to make its money back. I have no doubt about that.
Yeah. After Monster Hunter, they showed off Shinobi Art of the Vengeance. That's just the
that looks really freaking cool.
Yeah, the 2D action game. Kind of has a comic book aesthetic to it.
Beautiful art.
Yeah, but looks really cool, and that got dated for August 29th. A lot of dates here through, like, all the way through October. So the big question marks on the year is slowly slowly fleshing out as we see that. So Shinobi, just one of the many old school Sega IP that they're bringing back, like along with Crazy Taxi and Streets of Rage and Jet Set Radio and all sorts of stuff like that.
Sega's in their Capcom era.
Sega is in their Capcom era. Sega's also in their kart era because the Sonic Racing Crossworlds
game of the year Sonic game.
In terms of
Horizon,
the Sega Racing game?
No, not that one. But I mean, just like a game of the year caliber Sonic game.
We already had Sonic Frontiers, which was Yahtzee's game of the year. He just was too afraid to admit it. Sonic Racing Crossroads.
Fantasyland from your cold medicine over there.
Sonic Racing Crossroads looks really cool. They should have released it any year except this year when we're going to get a new Mario Kart. Like, what are y'all doing?
Yeah, did they have a date for this?
No, they just said that there's a closed network test later this month.
Right.
Which makes me think the game's closer.
Probably close,
close-ish. Yeah, because like Monster Hunter has a network test. Elden Ring
better
has a
get
network
this
test,
out before Mario. If
if we think it's a launch game for Switch, and we think Switch 2 is coming in May or June, like
okay, next week, get it going. Let's go.
They need to get this out like ASAP.
Fuck that test. Just put that thing out there.
Two big things. One, Big the Cat confirmed to this game, and two, in the fine print, they say also Sega characters. They didn't show any like other. Like non-Sonic characters, but like I'm sure we're gonna see like Joker, like from Persona, and
Kiryu.
I'm sure we'll see Kiryu. Yeah, fucking Monkey Ball.
the monkey in the ball in the car.
Yeah. Who needs a car? He's got a ball. He doesn't need a car. But yeah, it looks pretty good, and the other Sonic racing games are pretty good. So
yeah, they're not bad. Yeah.
Then they shut off, which a funny comment from the Patreon. Clayton, thank you so much, over at the $5 tier, said, me thinking we were getting a Persona 6 announcement, Atlas looking art style and vibe, and it's fucking Digimon. Digimon game coming. Digimon story, Time Stranger, which Nick got excited, was like, is this them fucking doing open world Pokemon before Pokemon can? But this is Digimon story has been a series,
like a visual novel type thing, right?
Well, the last one was a visual novel, or there's another Digimon game prior to this that was a visual novel type game. These ones are more just sort of like traditional RPGs. I will say the aesthetic looks pretty cool because it has that, which Digimon's always kind of had that cool gadget punk. Is that a thing?
Gadget punk?
Yeah, kind of like
the first time I've
turn of the
ever
century, like Y2K punk.
Sure.
Yeah,
no, you're right. Yeah,
it has a white
age.
Yeah, like fucking Shibuya Crossing, and it's the year 2000. Looks cool. I don't know what's anything else, but I like seeing that one wolf, Greymon, I think his name is. Remember him?
That is his. Oh my god, you're right.
Yeah, Greymon. He's just a color. They all should just be named the color and then Mon, and they'd be very easy to remember. Redmon. Redmon's already a rapper. Method Mon and Redmon.
Redmon's a reggae artist.
Yes. We then saw a very quick trailer for Lost Soul Aside, which got its date of May 30th. Do any of you guys know what's going on in this game?
Yeah, this guy was making this game as a solo developer years ago, and he got picked up by Sony for, I think, as part of its China initiative, whatever they call that. Outside of that, I don't know how many people are working on it now, but like it's clearly gotten a nice budget, and it already looked good when it was a solo developer, but now it looks like a full-on, at least AA level game.
Yeah, this showed up at some showcase a while back.
A lot. Yeah.
I remember it having a very flashy but otherwise like middling reveal, but like it just looks like someone wanted to do Devil May Cry real hard.
Yeah.
I mean, he's basically says at the beginning he loved Devil May Cry and wanted to make his own version of it.
Yeah, it doesn't look bad. Like I'd be interested to try it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought the trailer was pretty good. I do feel like it got upstaged by something later on the show that we'll talk about that I thought was the coolest surprise of the show. But yeah, so that's coming out May 30th. So yeah, another date for the first 6 months of the year. Then a really quick segment on Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, which is getting a demo on Friday, at least on PlayStation. I don't know if it got confirmed afterwards for everything else, but a demo this Friday before its release date next week. And then they announced that there's going to be an Ichiban DLC pack for Dave the Diver, which that game just fucking keeps on ticking. Like, how does that game just keep going?
Got Godzilla and it's got Yakuza, the two biggest franchises on the planet.
It just keeps going. It's kind of impressive. But I don't know. I guess more power to them. And it's similar. I guess Balatro keeps getting those like new decks, right? Like tie-ins with other games and whatnot. Then they get like the Witcher 3 tie-in and
they're not really decks. They're just like card backs. They're not really that exciting.
Oh, really? It's not like
it's just cosmetic.
Oh, okay.
No.
There aren't even effects. No, it's just
not that I've seen.
Okay.
I play a lot of Balatro. Maybe I haven't updated the phone app though in a while.
There you go. They said something about a Splitgate 2 alpha, and I don't know what's going on. I don't know what that is.
I mean, KC kind of liked it.
Halo, yeah, the game's okay. It
Is
leans
it-
on the kind of generic side right now. So like, yeah, like once they get it out of the testing phases, I'm hoping it can carve more of an identity than it has. But like, there's potential there, like just like there was in the first one. But it has a dedicated player base, and that's, I guess, the most important.
I'm really, really curious how this does because they got what I think it was $100 million investment after the first Splitgate to make this sequel.
$100 million?
Yeah, I believe that studio got $100 million investment to basically make. They want to be the next big FPS game in the market.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That seems like
Don't
a
know.
recipe for failure. I don't know. Like, you kind of gotta stumble your way into that.
I mean, Splitgate was huge, but like, was it a fad?
Define huge.
Yeah.
Man, I'd have to. I'll look it up, but it did very well. But it was free.
I know it definitely had like there is a player base that is attached to Splitgate.
Yeah, their developer raised $100 million.
Damn,
I guess that doesn't mean on this. That just means the developer raised that, so that could be other projects. And then there's a really quick thing on WWE 2K25 coming March 14th. There's like a social space called the Island where you just hang out with a bunch of other people and like talk about.
Isn't that
Kurt
just
Angle.
what they do in the NBA games? Right, like they built like a city that your my player character can like walk. He could like hang out with Jake from State Farm.
And this guy could beat the shit out of Jake from State Farm, throw him through a table. I have not played a wrestling video game since the Nintendo 64. However, in the past like 9 months, I've gotten back. I'm back into wrestling. This might be my first wrestling game since the fucking Clinton administration. And I, for one, am curious to see how things have changed. Can I still hit the thumbstick in order to do a taunt? Because that's how I used to taunt on the N64. So we're going to see. Yeah, that's what Kurt Angle used to say. It's true. That was his
last WWE game I played was, I think they released like a WWE versus Raw game.
That was a PlayStation exclusive, right?
Or SmackDown versus Raw?
SmackDown versus Raw. That's what it was.
Yeah. That was in the same era of the THQ ones on N64, which were much worse. Like the SmackDown vs. Raw games were dog shit, and then
SmackDown don't even exist anymore.
Amazing. Yeah, they still do SmackDown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's Friday nights on the CW. Maybe, I don't know.
That they have a wrestling show on like 8 different networks now.
Oh yeah, they're everywhere. They're like, we're on Netflix, but we're also on 10 different places.
We're also on Peacock. We're on Tubi.
Tubi. Tubi. This past weekend was the first time I ever used Tubi. Because to watch the Super Bowl, because it's free on there.
Oh yeah, it was.
That was the first time I've ever used Tubi.
If you need some recommendations, listen to the Rewind every other week because Jack's got some for you. So yeah, that's coming up March 14th. Borderlands 4 got a release date of September 23rd. Feels like one of like the big kickoff of the fall season. Randy Pitchford and a second Randy. Couple of Randys.
He didn't give a last name for some reason.
Randy Pitchford was like, I'm the only one who gets 2 names. You only get 1 name. They showed off a little bit of the game and then said there's going to be a much bigger blowout showcase later this spring that shows the abilities and story stuff and all that. Do we think this game's going to be big? Like, what do we? I think this game's going to be big.
The last one sold really well. The last 2 sold really well, despite being very samey. Like some folks, I guess, just missed that IP. I was really I thought they were fine, but I was really lukewarm on them because of that. I just hope they have the confidence now to just do something new, because like the Borderlands series I've always liked, but like it's been the only thing that studio has ever done well, in my opinion. So if make it work.
They keep talking about Break Free, which I know is like part of the story, but also like I'm desperately curious to know if they're going actual open world for once, or if they're going to keep doing zones.
That wouldn't be enough for me if that's.
It would be enough for me if they went open world, just because there's so much variety in the environments they do, and I think I would have more of a reason to explore.
Yeah, I mean they did show off different looking biomes in this
Mhm.
footage. Like, it
They
wasn't
always,
just
yeah.
the normal looking thing. Like, they showed off some forests and some cities, and there you
Yeah,
go,
they
that's
always
two
have
of the
different
biomes.
biomes in their games, but they're
What is it?
they're all
I had like genuine curiosity. What does it matter if it's open world or like big old zone based?
I guess I just would like some more connectivity through it. It's not that big of a deal, but I do get tired of like having to exit this zone, go back, go back, go back. I just kind of want to be able to just fast travel from everywhere.
Just the seamlessness of it all.
Yeah, and like some of the level design gets a little bit constrained in the zones because it can be kind of linear and boring. I think that was a big problem with Borderlands 3 is they had like much bigger zones, but they were really empty and boring. So I don't know.
What shooters have done open world really well? I mean, Halo Infinite's the one I think of that
Yeah,
did
probably
an open
Halo.
Yeah,
world. I don't know if it did it well.
Yeah, none have really done it well. I feel like Borderlands could be the one to do it well, just because there's loot to find all the time, kind of thing.
Sure.
If with this, it looks like they're adding a lot more platforming in and all that than they've had before. So I'd be curious.
The early Far Cries, right?
Yeah. I mean, Far Cry. Yeah, that's Ubisoft.
Yeah, that's a good.
So-
No, that's a good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I fucking loved Far Cry 5. I'm gonna be honest. Going to Montana, shooting some folks.
Hannah Montana's in that game.
You go to Montana. Her name is Miley Cyrus.
She might be in the game.
Montana's in the game. So that's September 23rd. And again, they're going to have a big dedicated showcase later on this spring. Speaking of this spring, March 6th, again, Split Fiction coming out, the next game from Hazelight, the folks behind It Takes Two. Trailer just looks cool. I don't need to see anymore. I'm going to play this game.
For some reason, this showing of this trailer finally got me. Like, I was kind of like lukewarm on this. Like, I didn't.
Awards, yeah.
For whatever reason, like, it's not like they showed that much more, but like maybe they let the characters talk to each other a little bit more. So I got more of the sense of like kind of how their interactions with and the story that's going on. I'm kind of like way interested now.
Interesting, because I feel like I like the premise of It Takes Two a lot more than this one, because this like It Takes Two didn't feel as generic. This feels a lot more generic in terms of like just sci-fi fantasy kind of mixing. But I know I'll enjoy the gameplay.
From what I understand, I think that is kind of the point. Like, they're both writers, and it's like stories, and not just like they're good stories. Apparently, some of these are like, oh, I wrote this story when I was a kid. So like, yeah, it's generic and boilerplate like fantasy / sci-fi. And I think as a commentary, that could be interesting.
Yeah, and that I have no doubt. Like the gameplay and the writing are going to be good. It's just like visually, it's just a little bit generic compared to I think It Takes Two, which had a lot more personality to it.
Yeah, so that comes out. Jesus, Marty, that's like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
That's soon. Yeah, looks cool. Excited for that. Next, they show Directive 8020 coming out October 2nd. That is the next game from Supermassive Games, part of their Dark Anthology collection. Feels like their first sci-fi take on one of their stories. This kind of alien-esque folks, derelict space station, spooky
feels
stuff
like the Thing.
Feels a little bit like the Thing. Yeah.
I almost thought like it was gonna be Alien at the end.
Yeah. But yeah, seems like a slightly different direction to take their stories in. Other than a quarry or a Man of Medan, whatever that was. Maybe this has got a man. Maybe they open up like a secret room in the ship, and there's a Man of Medan in there.
Okay, so you played Did you play all the Dark Pictures with your wife?
Wait, did I play all of them? How many of them are there? Because I might have actually played all of them.
115.
There's 4. There's Man of Medan, House of Ashes. I forgot the other 2.
Okay. Yeah, House of Ash was the military one. Then there was...
Because you reviewed a couple of them for...
Was there something with Hours?
The Little Hope. So yeah, I played those 3. If there's a 4th one, I didn't play the 4th one.
The Devil in Me.
Yeah, didn't play that one.
None of them are as fun to say as Man of Medan.
Man of Medan.
And I think I liked Man of Medan the most of all of them. Like the other ones were okay. Man of Medan was like a good time. Me playing that with my fiance and with Jesse afterwards, like both playthroughs were like really fun. For whatever reason, maybe it's because my personal preference is like I like sci-fi genre better. Like I'm more interested in that. Lashana Lynch, I'm a big fan of her as well.
She's great.
So like I was kind of interested in what this was, and a little deflated when I saw it was like, oh, in the Dark Pictures series. But I'm willing to give it a shot. Like maybe they're doing something a little different with this gameplay wise, but like maybe not. Like maybe it's just another primarily choice driven story, and that's fine. There people are into it as long as it's a good story.
That's what their audience likes.
Yeah, they always get an interesting cast and.
It's funny. Like I always enjoy those games when I go to actually play them. I just have a really hard time convincing myself to go play them.
Yeah. I mean, this is October 2nd. It's right in time for spooky season, so seems like a smart time to release it. And I believe that makes it the latest dated game we have with a concrete date this year. Sticking with spooky stuff, they had Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic coming June 13th.
I knew going into that trailer, I'm pretty sure it's Five Nights at Freddy's, but like I'm not gonna lie, that trailer got me quite interested in that game.
That looks like an actual game, yeah. I don't think any of the previous ones looked very actual game like.
And this is the AAA one that's been in development for a long time, right?
Oh, I don't know.
Is that a question or a statement?
I think it's a mix.
I don't know. No, I don't know. What do you mean AAA? Like there has been a AAA game. This is what Judas turned into.
But there has been a AAA Five Nights at Freddy's game in development for a long time, and I think this is it.
Yeah, maybe this is it.
You mean like 100 folks worked on this pizza game?
Yeah.
Folks missed their the birth of their children in order to learn the secret of the mimic.
FNAF made a ton of money, so I believe it.
Kids love it.
Oh wait,
they absolutely love it.
Did they say this was multiplayer or is this single player?
Oh, I didn't say anything about multiplayer. This seems like a single player thing to me.
Well, apparently this is different then, because the multiplayer one was canceled at some point.
Good.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah. I am
some Bioshock vibes to it.
I am pro these games and pro this movie because it's a gateway into horror for kids, and I think horror is great. And even if I'm not interested in it, I think gateway drugs are cool. King Dead with a $2 dono.
Yahtzee.
To our previous thing, King Dead with a $2 dono said, "Whoa, Black Betty, bam, lamb, man,
Thank you, King Dead. We needed that.
I think that was a little man and madan. Also, someone said man and madanadan, which I like. I like that as well. That was good. It's just taking a lot of things we like. Next, they showed off a little bit of the Midnight Walk coming May 8th. This is a game we've seen before. The standout thing of this game is its visuals. It has this really cool handcrafted world where all the characters and all the world itself look kind of stop motion animation. Really cool.
Spooky looking clay.
Yeah, still not sure what this game is. Like, what am I doing? What does 5 minutes of this game look like? But in snippets, the game looks really neat. And it's also one of two games they announced also coming to PSVR. They haven't forgotten about that little guy. It's also not VR. You could play it.
Okay, because I thought it was just a VR experience.
No, not the two games they announced having VR things are also not
okay.
VR, so or also not VR, if that makes sense.
Smart.
Yeah.
That game was almost at the top of my list of games I'm interested in. It kind of looks like a first person shooter adventure. So
yeah, it looks neat.
Yeah, it looked really.
Yeah, remind me a little bit of like how Lost in Random looked, if you guys remember that game from a few years ago. But looks good. Thumbs up from us. Next is the Konami game we mentioned. Just a little cute puzzle platformer called Darwin's Paradox. This is by Konami that its whole conceit is you play as this like squid that has to go through a little 2D platforming journey, and you have to use different squid-like abilities like shooting ink and being able to kind of camouflage in with your surroundings. Looks like a fun little kind of Pixar-esque journey.
You said that just as the squid on screen shot ink too.
Little Piscar. It looks if it's like a little dude in a big world, but you're a squid. Looks like Little Nightmares, but less scary. I don't know. Seem neat. And again, Konami's making games. Good on Konami.
Surprisingly so. Yeah, like this is a brand new thing, not attached to any big IP they own. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. And I like the idea of playing as like a little squid who's walking around. Thumbs up. Good job.
I think the name was terrible.
Yeah, that's not telling
Darwin's
you much.
Paradox. Yeah,
Darwin's Paradox. Yeah.
yeah.
I don't think when I think of Darwin, I don't think of a squid.
Yeah,
I think of a fish, but that's
I think of a monkey.
that's because
I think of a man who went to the Galapagos. Was like, I'm going to learn about these animals.
Yeah.
Speaking of bad names, Warriors: Abyss out now. What do we do? Why are we podcasting? We could be in the abyss right now.
That's
this
out
is
now.
Top-down roguelike take on the Musou Warriors franchise, which I don't even know what that means.
It
means?
seems like it's
exactly
a Survivor.
what it sounds like.
Survivor's like.
No, it's not.
We all can't say it's exactly what it sounds like when we all have different definitions.
But it is exactly what it sounds like. They said it's a roguelike Dynasty Warriors. It's Dynasty Warriors is one dude taking on a million, and it has the roguelike formula. Like it looks like Hades, where it's like kind of an angled view, and like he's just having moves and power ups. Like this seems like a real kind of slam dunk if you're into this.
All right, you explained that.
You just explained the Survivor like games.
Survivors aren't.
Vampire Survivors, all that stuff. It's
okay. The difference
millions
is that
of
those games
enemies
play themselves. Like I think you have to press buttons in this.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, Musou games you got to press hell.
Yeah, you got to press buttons in a Musou.
My thing with Musou games is I've played the 2 Zelda ones and the Persona one, and then I think I talked about trying to play Dynasty Wars Origin, the most recent one, which has gotten very good reviews. But I tried playing it on my Steam Deck, and my Steam Deck was like, "I'm going to kill myself if you keep doing this to me." And so I was like, "Okay, I'm sorry, I won't do that anymore." But yeah,
is it odd that they released it now? Like they just released the big one.
Yeah, it is weird. That timing is weird. I don't know. I guess when else is any timing good?
Well, maybe because it doesn't work on your Steam Deck. You're like, oh shit, we gotta get something out that will.
That'll work on Steam Decks exactly. I wish they would do. I wish they would do the roguelike or the Musou thing for more things I like. Like, how have we not gotten like a Star Wars or a Marvel Musou game? Just a Jedi fucking cutting through a bunch of dudes. Like a Clone Wars Musou game?
Is Star Wars super popular in the East? In like Asian markets?
That's a great question. There's Star Wars Visions. That was cool.
I mean, I don't know if that's related. It was cool. You're right.
Yeah.
But I think that might be the key is that it's IP that needs to appeal to the East because they're the ones who are really big on the Musou stuff. Like, I don't think we in the West care about it as much.
You know what Japanese folks like? KFC. Could you imagine Colonel Sanders Musou? Just fucking waiting.
KFC is already working on it, I'm sure.
Could you imagine?
They made a game console, remember? Oh no, they made a chicken heater. What was it?
Yeah,
it was marketed as a game console, but it just kept chicken warm.
What?
Weird execs doing weird exec things.
What do you mean marketed as a game console?
Eric can.
Yeah, it was like a game console that also heated up your chicken.
Yeah, the KF console.
Yeah,
that was like this. That was a
real thing. Yep,
right alongside the Soldier Boy console.
Oh my god, they are really silly at KFC. I love it.
They are. They're great. Shout out to the Colonel. Except you don't look at his past. Bad past. We then had a pair of Onimusha segments. Really quick, they just showed off Onimusha 2 Samurai's Destiny, which is the HD remaster of the PS2 game, which was announced last week. That's coming on May 23rd. And then a new trailer for Onimusha Way of the Sword coming next year, which was that game was just shown off at the Game Awards. A couple of things here. It felt like they were kind of reheats from the Game Awards. This was a longer trailer, and one thing I liked about it is the main character seems silly. Mm-hmm. He seems silly, and it seems like he does not want to be in this situation. And my one worry about this game was it was going to feel just like a little too serious, a little too self-serious. And I like the fact that he's just like, what is going on? Like, why is this fucking arm talking to me? Like,
the character is Miyamoto Musashi, who is a legendary swordsman in Japanese history. He is well known as a scoundrel. Like that movie I was talking about before, 1 versus 400 or whatever.
Oh yeah.
It was also Musashi who was the star of that as he fought 400 guys. And he's a bit of a dick. Like he does underhanded shit in sword fights.
Which seems good.
Yeah, gameplay for this looks really nice.
Yeah. I'd like to we're getting this resurgence of non Souls-like and non-Souls-like 3D action games. We're getting new Ninja Gaiden, we're getting new this, even a couple of the games we saw at the showcase later on. Looks pretty cool. Thumbs up.
Question about the Onimusha remaster though. Like, are any of the other games playable? Like, is this
the first one's on
one
Steam.
got a PS4. And Steam.
Okay.
And this isn't getting like a real fancy, like this isn't like a
Resident Evil 2 remaster.
But they're just making it playable, which
it's playable and it looks a little a little zhuzhed up. That leaves 3, which they would need to figure out what to do with Jean Reno, because Jean Reno was one of the stars of 3. So maybe that's
maybe as a licensing thing they got.
I saw him. Someone asked him about it recently, and he says like he would gladly, he really had a good time, and he would gladly work on it again. So
that's nice. What was the last movie he was in?
That's a great question. He kind of looks like a bird. That's a weird thing to say, but is that?
it is, but you're not wrong.
Yeah, he kind of looks like a bird. I like him a lot. Looks like a bird. Fat Cock with a $5 dono. Thank you, Fat Cock. Disney spent billions marketing Star Wars in Asia, but it didn't take off like they wanted to. Well, you win some, you lose some, Disney. The next game they showed off, Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. This was a trailer that leaked a couple days ago, including its release date of August 28th. I feel weird about this. I'm obviously a big Metal Gear fan. Metal Gear Solid 3 is my favorite. If you ask me today, it's my favorite in the franchise. Ask me tomorrow, might be a different answer. This game looks good, but it looks like a robot made it. It doesn't look like it has any heart or soul in it. It looks like sometimes if you look up a full playthrough of a game, sometimes the thumbnail will just be like a weird HD-ified version of the game that isn't what the game is. And then you click into it and it's just a normal playthrough of the game. Like, this looks like that. And it looks like it is deeply missing. Like Metal Gear Solid 3 has a very specific aesthetic to it, a very specific color palette. And this just doesn't have that. And I know there is going to be, I believe they said there's like different filters you can use in order to sort of have that, but they haven't shown any of that. And it just, I don't know, looks a little lifeless to me, which is kind of a bummer.
I also thought, all the trailers, like the gameplay looks really stiff.
The gameplay in Metal Gear Solid 3 is kind of stiff.
Yeah, that's why I don't like Metal
Gear. All of them except for 5, I would say the gameplay in Metal Gear is stiff. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but it is stiff.
It could just be the marketing. Like, they're showing you a trailer, and it's not a trailer that Kojima put together, which would usually have maybe all of that, like, life and style and weirdness that maybe you're used to.
Yeah. Find out if Metal Gear really works without Kojima or not.
Yeah, felt like it was definitely missing that. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, in a way, like, even when it was revealed, like, I don't know, although a lot of people, myself included, were very skeptical of Silent Hill 2 upon its remake, upon its reveal, and what they showed off, and being like, this is too much action, this is not our Silent Hill 2. Then it came out, and I really liked it, and I thought it was really good, so... I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. I'm glad it's still got some weird shit going on. The apes are back, at least in the PlayStation version. So the apes are back for PlayStation. The original Metal Gear Solid 3 had, in Subsistence had weird ape escape mini games modes, and it's just really weird because it's like fully voiced, like almost story canonical, where Snake's like, Colonel, the fucking apes are back. The apes aren't back in all the versions, though. On the Xbox versions, apparently there's no apes. However, there is Bomberman.
Oh.
So
why?
I mean, the apes are first-party PlayStation characters.
And and Konami's doing a remake, and they own Bomberman, so they're like,
they own Bomberman, so they're. I guess he's like Bomberman's ape-like. Like, he's like a little
Bomberman.
Dude. Yeah. A little dude.
We should have got a Bomberman secret level.
Season 2.
That would have been a good one. Yeah.
Put it on the radar.
The next game, which Nick mentioned earlier, dated September 4th, Hell Is Us. I thought it looked neat. I didn't have a lot to say about it. I just thought it was neat.
That looks more Metal Gear than Metal Gear Solid 3 looks.
It looked very Kojima-ish. I was like, even like the characters.
I was surprised by I was surprised by the amount of like story stuff going on in the trailer. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, so Nick, you've been following this game for a little bit, right, Nick? Or at least you've been excited about it. Like this, is it what is like? They didn't show a lot of the like just pure gameplay. Like what is the game?
So it's not yet. Like, I try to describe on the our fantasy draft. I tried to explain what this was in case he was yelling at me because he's like, I was like, it's got Souls like elements. He's like, well, then it's a Souls game. And I was like, no, it's not.
I don't sound like that.
Guys, all we do is one of us tries to describe something, and the other two yell at them. I was a victim of that earlier with fucking my correct thing of Elden Ring being the exact same as
it's an open world action game. I think with a more directed story to follow. And it has like challenging combat, but from what they've said in the interviews and stuff like that, the narrative like uncovers itself as you explore the world, and it's it's definitely not like a linear adventure. So I don't know. I need to see more of how that plays out. And like what it means to have a mission in that game, or where to go to get these story cinematics and stuff like that. It's a weird game. It's a really interesting looking game, though.
Do we know what's going on with this? Like what the studio is?
A new studio.
New studio.
Their first game.
A lot of I'm seeing that from a lot of this.
My biggest concern is that it's published by Nacon, and they are very hit or miss.
What do they do?
But they did test drive. Their most recent game is the new test drive game. They published the first what is it called? They published Steel Rising, which I like. They published the first
right.
Well, they're publishing the sequel to Greedfall. So they've had games I've liked. They've also had a lot of games that looked really cool and didn't really pan out. So I think the biggest
Godfall? Greedfall?
Greedfall. It's like that BioWare RPG from Spiders.
Victoria era.
Oh, that's not
esque.
Yeah. The one that like they were really shopping around for a long time was like that Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood game, and that was
was bad.
Werewolf was Earthblood.
Yeah. In KC review, that was set like the
crazy bad.
Yeah, because they had like a big publishing deal for like Age of Darkness games, and they completely squandered.
Is that RoboCop?
That's RoboCop. They did publish that, so they've had a good.
Oh, I thought RoboCop was in this game.
Oh no, RoboCop's not in this game. World of Darkness. Thank you, my man. Yes, not Age of Darkness. World of Darkness. They really squandered the opportunity they had with that IP.
Well, RoboCop was cool, so I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
The next thing they showed off, Lies of P Overture. We knew Lies of P DLC was coming. And it finally got shown off. Looked very cool. It's coming out this summer. Has like a neat cold theme to it. It seems like a winterland you go to
in the summer.
I was trying to figure out if it's like modeled specifically after, like the first game is Pinocchio, this game is blank, and I wasn't sure if there was a specific fairy tale or story.
I couldn't tell what
it was cribbing after. It looks really cool though.
Even maybe it's Frozen.
I mean, it might, because Frozen's modeled as like a whole fairy tale. So yeah, this might be just like Elsa breaks bad.
The game at the end of the first game, it teases. I think the sequel will be Wizard of Oz.
Well, you can't. That's just a spoiler for people. Jack hasn't gotten there yet.
Yeah,
I feel like we might.
It's been like 2
limitations might have been there. Yeah.
You also need to get like a certain ending to see that, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Looks cool. Casey, I'm assuming you're like back in for this.
Yes. I've been craving more Lies of P, like to the point where I was like, at some point I'm just gonna do a replay. I hope they don't do the thing Dark Souls does, where they're like, hey, you have to play all of the last game in order to get into this DLC. But they've been really good.
Question.
They've been really good about taking what works and then improving on a lot of the obscurity. So I'm optimistic that it'll just be a thing you can drop into.
Yeah. John Blay wonders how much it'll cost. I bet this costs $30.
Yeah, 30, 40 range, something like that, I think.
Oh, look at a cat. Yeah, 40 seems standard. And they said it is you need
the base game.
You need the base game. So this is not a standalone thing. And Eric says the DLC is a prequel to Lies of P. So
so you definitely won't need to have put time into it, because like I think I have it on Game Pass, but I haven't like played through it. So I don't want it to be an obscure thing where you got to beat the Lord of Blood in order to get into the.
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily, because it could be like, oh, you need to get to the specific point to look into the mirror of reflection, and then the mirror of reflection lets you remember shit from your past.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's not. I'm hoping it says, yeah, I own this game, so I just select the DLC on the menu.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Coming out this summer. I'm sure we'll hear more from it in the coming months. The next game was Dreams of Another. This is the upcoming game from Pixel Junk, the Pixel Junking, Pixel Junk Monsters team. This was 100% a Colorado game.
I had no idea what I was looking at.
You use guns to create. Finally, someone with the balls to make a game that you just shoot shit to create.
This is what the NRA is going to use.
Yeah, are they funding this?
This I don't know. I didn't know what was going on. I thought it looked cool. I don't understand what's going on. You're like a boy in his pajamas just firing guns off into weird little pixel clutches, and then it just turns into like fucking.
Is it they're point clouds, something like that?
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
I don't know what it is.
Slap that clown with a wad of cash.
Yeah.
Like, what is this game?
Yeah. Looks neat. I'm gonna be honest. I'm aboard. Dreams of Another. Your name is very forgettable. But it looks good.
Before they said the name, I was like, did someone make this game in Dreams? Like, is this like a
it kind of did look like it was in Dreams, right?
Of the Dreams thing, and then it was like Dreams of Another. I was like, wait.
Yeah. Yeah, even kind of like Dreams is even written in a similar font as Dreams.
I think whoever made this was definitely in a dream of some sort, and maybe not influenced by something.
We then a very similar game, Days Gone Remastered, another game where you shoot to create.
All games that's getting a remaster. Like, give me Infamous and Resistance, Sony. What are you doing?
I just imagine the PS4 games are. I imagine the PS4 games are easier to.
Well, no shit. But I thought Sony didn't care about Days Gone, and now they're remastering it.
I mean, they care about money. This is coming out April 25th. It is so funny that they're remastering this before Bloodborne. It is so funny. Like, what a bunch of fucking mooks.
I will say, even though I was just shitting on Days Gone, I really like Days Gone. I think the horde mechanic is better than any zombie game that exists out there. Like, those horde, you actually have to plan to fight those hordes in that game, and they are terrifying.
Resident Evil's out there. That's a game.
It's not. It doesn't have good hordes.
Are there any hordes in Resident Evil?
No.
The multiplayer one, maybe.
They shut that down. All right. R.I.P. to the Reverse.
Did anybody play that? Did any one person?
No one did. I don't know. Yeah, I know this is a game that like ended up getting a cult following.
Sold well.
Yeah, I mean everything on the PS4 sold well. But yeah, I don't know who's really here for this in 2025, but I guess we'll see. Coming soon. They also just quickly showed off some Stellar Blade stuff. The DLC plus the PC port with everything is coming in June. Gooners everywhere.
Squad Rise Up.
Yeah, crossover with that real horny third person cover shooter on mobile.
Oh yeah, what is it?
Not Nike, Nikkei.
Yeah, Nikkei. That's it. But yeah, I mean it's good to someone from the studio said that they expect the game to sell more on PC than it did on.
Oh yeah, PS5. The Goon Squad lives on PC with all their mods.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, so
big boobies everywhere in that game.
Like the ones who bought it on PS5 will buy it on PC
so they can
for the Gooner mods. Yeah.
That's coming in June. There was a quick segment on PlayStation Plus, which we don't have to go over. It's just Jedi Survivor and Lost Records Bloom and Rage coming to PlayStation Plus later on in the spring. Indie games like Blueprints, which looks really cool, and Abiotic Factor coming to PlayStation Plus, and then Armored Core 1 through 3 and Patapon 3 as classics coming to PlayStation Plus. So
rolled over blueprints, but I've been saying since I got to try that game at GDC last year, that is going to be probably a Game of the Year contender.
It looks really cool. Looks very cool. I'm excited for that one.
Indie Game of the Year contender. It won't stack up to Borderlands 4, but we'll see.
I mean, an indie game is also a game.
Why
did you say like an indie game is a game? That's like saying a lady doctor.
Because the Game Awards treats them differently half the time.
Balatro just won Game of the Year, didn't it?
No.
One Game of the Year. That's not what one Game of the Year.
Jeez, how much nightclub you had?
I have 100. I'm feverish. It had to have been Balatro. No, it was Astrobot.
It was a good choice.
Yeah. It was a good choice. That was really good. The next game they showed off, we're almost at the end, was what I thought one of the coolest surprises of the show, Tides of Annihilation.
Yeah.
This was a big third-person action game from Eclipse Glow Games, which is a new Tencent-funded Chinese studio, which features folks who've worked on Yakuza, For Honor, Assassin's Creed, Persona, and Prince of Persia. It takes place in like modern-day London, and you play this woman who's got the ability of like she can call upon different spirits of the like Arthurian Knights of the Round Table. It's like it's almost like Ender Lilies and Ender Magnolia, where like you're a character who doesn't do the fighting themselves, but every attack is like a different spirit that you've summoned, and it looks cool. All these like giant like Arthurian beasties attacking modern day London. Looked really cool. Yeah, God of War feeling. Like looked sick. Story stuff looked cool. Yeah, I was definitely a fan of this as a thing I did not know existed, and then suddenly did exist. I thought this was cool. I give it a big thumbs up.
John Boy doesn't like the title in chat. I thought the title was actually really good. Tides of
Annihilation. I mean, that sounds like it could also be like a strategy game.
Yeah, like that could mean anything.
I don't know. It looked cool.
Yeah, I think it's a little bland, but the game looks cool. So whatever. I can fucking get over a title. No date, so my gut says it's probably not coming out this year. But yeah, again, just more. We're seeing more from Chinese, Korean, Japanese studios funded making single player games. Single player campaign driven games.
Seems to be their bag.
Yeah, looks really neat. The next game they showed was Metal Eden. I don't know what was going on. Did it?
Like that? Yeah, to me that looked like someone doing more of Doom Eternal. Since Doom the Dark Ages is like we want to stick him on the ground, make him a tank now. I kind of miss the acrobatics of the first person gunplay. This seems like they were inspired by that. So I'm into it.
I was confused because a lot of it felt like the narration felt story driven, but then it seemed like it was multiplayer. Did I just misread that?
Multiplayer at all?
Yeah, I don't know if there was.
I
might have just fully misread this.
Yeah, this looks like a straight up single player FPS.
Oh man,
it's made by the developers of Ruiner as well. If you remember that.
No, I do remember that. This is like a big glow up from that, right?
Yeah. Ruiner was like I think it was a Devolver published game. It's like kind of a isometric action shooter.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now that it's, I know that it seems to be campaign focused, I'm much more interested in it. So there you go. Thumbs up. Second to last game they showed off was Mind's Eye. This is the game from Build a Rocket Boy. Build a Boy Rocket? Ooh. Build a Rocket Boy. Can't be a boy rocket.
You had it right.
Can't be a boy rocket. That's Leslie Benzies Studios, formerly of Rockstar, the GTA franchise. The big first game being partnered with IO Interactive Partners, which is obviously the Hitman devs getting in the kind of publishing funding business. The big single player cinematic action story driven game. Seems like it deals with stuff like AI and human augmentation, shootouts, car chases, cutscenes.
I was not as impressed by this as I thought I was going to be. Especially the gameplay segments look really. I like me a good third-person shooter, cover shooter, but whatever they showed in the gameplay in this looked really generic.
Yeah. I in my notes I wrote looks super generic, and then in quotations lots of particles.
Yeah, like they spent like every gameplay scene like blowing up a car. I'm like, that's okay, like why?
Because it looks flashy for a trailer. Like they're hiding the fact that they don't have a lot to show you. They did.
Yeah, they showed. It was after the trailer. They showed like some more gameplay segments.
Oh, okay.
And it was really
like
just
third-person shooting,
really bland-looking third-person cover shooting. Yeah, and like maybe the story looks really good, but I don't know. Like, This is the thing about like starting studios with like the pedigree of other studios. When you say like, oh, former Grand Theft Auto, Rockstar developers and all that, like I'm expecting like something Max Payne feeling, at least quality wise for shooting, and this kind of looked like cookie cutter, Unreal Engine asset shooting. I know it's not built on Unreal Engine, but I don't know. It just something about the trailer just seemed
it's built on a boy rocket.
Yeah,
they put a rocket in the trailer too.
Yeah, they did. That was smart of them. Looks a little bit like iRobot. That's
exactly what I thought.
Yeah. Shout out to iRobot. Fungus, before we get the last game, Fungus Finder with the $2 dono. Thank you, Fungus Finder. Well, if it isn't Typhoid Marty. I didn't go outside. I couldn't have gotten anyone sick. I haven't been outside in days. I don't even know what it's like out there anymore. And then the last thing they showed off, Saros, coming 2026, the next game from Housemarque, their follow-up to Returnal.
Yeah.
Long-awaited follow-up to Returnal. It is, but they said it's like a new IP, but I'm like, are you sure? This is like, seems like it's very much in line with Returnal, except that it sounds like it's not just like you start your loop over and you got to just start over again like Returnal. It seems very much your character grows and sort of the world changes with each new cycle and death. Looks cool.
After Returnal, I am down for whatever they make.
Yeah,
put it in my belly.
That feels
like God. You would love it.
Really like it.
I know. I'm sure I would love it.
He's getting there, Marty, because he's working through all the Metroid games right now. It's a natural evolution to getting to Returnal.
You just got to knock out a couple of games from the PS3 generation, and then we'll get there.
Yeah.
It looks cool.
That looks really cool. Yeah.
2026. So I'm this and Intergalactic. Well, Intergalactic is probably not coming out next year, but
right. That Capcom thing, right? No, not Naughty Dog.
Naughty Dog. Yeah.
You were thinking of that game that isn't real. What's the Capcom one called with the little girl?
It was also something like two words mashed together.
Yeah.
Oh, what the fuck was it called? They showed it like years ago.
So long.
Yeah.
So it's not chance to remember it.
It is important. It's the most important thing. Temtem, that's it. Temtem, thank you.
Pragmata.
Pragmata, that's
Pragmata.
It. That game.
Pragmatism and Stigmata.
Even chat didn't remember that game.
That game's not going to be real.
It's as close to the release as Deep Down was.
Rip. Trumando asks, where is Death Stranding 2? I think we've gotten confirmation it's going to be at South by Southwest in a few weeks.
They're also doing their own specific direct for it, weren't they?
Death Stranding 2, no, there's going to be a big showcase at South by Southwest and a Kojima panel and everything. So I'm imagining that's where the trailer is going to be shown off. Listen, Kojima has transcended the likes of PlayStation showcases, and now only has to worry about his Hollywood friends.
Yeah, he paid his debt to Sony, right?
Yeah,
we'll lend you this engine if you do a bunch of exclusive whatever for us. He worked in the mines, and now he's free.
Yeah, exactly.
To steal souls anew.
Yeah. Sorry, Dower Dodger, I missed one of your donos from earlier. $5 dono from Dower Dodger. Nick, the irony is that your child would play for an NHL team that you hate. Would you be fine if little baby Nick Jr., little Yahtzee Calandra, you'd probably name him, played for the Avalanche?
Might not talk to him for a year, but yeah, eventually when the checks start rolling in, it'll be okay.
Is it weird that you named your child Yahtzee?
No.
After a year of not talking to him, you think he's going to give you a check?
Yeah.
It works fine. It works fine. It can possibly go wrong.
He'll understand that, like, he hurt me so deeply and needed a year in therapy to understand why he would make the decision to go play for the Avalanche.
Him.
Yeah.
by becoming
no.
drafted into NHL, not by you not speaking to him for a
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, he'll grow up in a Red Wings family.
Got it.
He'll know the sacrifice he's making if he goes to the Avalanche.
The sacrifice he's making is he'd make millions of dollars.
Millions of dollars.
Gain world fame and then not have to deal with you.
Still Clan Giver says, I didn't know Nick had a kid. I do not have a kid. this is future kid we're talking about.
We're hearing why Nick won't have a kid.
I even gotta start that girlfriend journey before I get there.
Start a self journey first. Learn to love yourself before you learn to love someone else. Yeah.
Once this hat comes off my head, my life will be in the right direction again.
There you go.
I got 3 more months of this shit.
So yeah, I thought it was a pretty good showcase. I think if people were expecting like a big first party Sony blowout, they might have been disappointed. I mean, that's just how it goes. I also think, oh my God, that picture is hideous. I don't like it at all. I don't like it at all.
I'm trying to hold it.
God, I don't like it at
abuse.
All. I saw some people wondering, like Square Enix has been really quiet. I think that's because they're probably going to have a big presence at the Nintendo thing. Square and Nintendo have had a very close relationship throughout the Switch generation. I feel like they were one of the first on board third parties with the Switch, and so it feels like they were probably first in line to reveal stuff for Switch 2 in April. So I imagine we see a lot from them.
Think Final Fantasy VII Remake coming to Switch 2?
I think that, yeah, but I think also some new projects. Okay. Final Fantasy 9 remake, Final Fantasy 15 remake, Final Fantasy 10 remake. Just fucking remake them all. What does it matter? We're all gonna die soon, anyways. Fucking remake all the old games. What did you say? Overall, pretty relatively positive on this showcase.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm always like iffy on some of the more flashy trailers if like they look really good in trailers and if they're gonna end up as good games. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, it took a very different.
Those action games in particular, I get a little bit worried about. Yeah, sometimes they're like really good in trailers and play like absolute shit.
Yeah, especially if you don't know like the developers, pedigree. But yeah, again, we've seen in the past, we've gotten enough Stellar Blades and Black Myth Wukongs and Liza P's to where it's like, I no longer can just assume now. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's funny. It's kind of like the opposite approach of Microsoft kind of going deep on a handful of games, whereas this was shallow on a shit ton of games. Because Microsoft Showcase was just the 4 or 5 big things. But both pretty good. Two pretty good showcases to kick off the year.
My only thing is like Sony's first party lineup is just really sparse until 2026.
Because they canceled all their live service.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
gotta start from scratch.
Right now, we're only getting Ghost of Yoti this year.
Yeah, I mean that we know of. Astrobot hadn't been revealed by this point last year, so yeah, who knows? Maybe Marathon comes out this year.
I could see that, but it's also not it's a multi-platform game, so I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Inverse Skies with a $3 dono. Thank you so much. Shout out to Eric for that lovely father-son photo. Oh God, it zoomed in. I hate it. I hate it more when it's zoomed in. I thought I hated it when it was zoomed out, and I hate it.
It's not even accurate. Yes, he's not wearing like a black shirt. Come on, Eric.
Why are you the son and he's? Never mind. What do you? We
What's so stupid?
That picture's just breaking you.
It did. Yeah, it did.
His NyQuil brain can't put it together.
Zooming in.
I could have just not looked at it. I have not played any games in the last few days. When I'm sick, I can't play games. It's impossible for me to focus on games. Have you guys played any games, or is there anything you guys would like to talk about?
I can't talk about what I'm playing, and because I'm playing something, I haven't played anything or watched anything.
Well, that's good. Is it Mario?
Yes.
Just Mario 3?
Yeah, but I don't want to talk about it. There's trauma there.
You don't want to talk about Mario 3. It's weird. At the end of every level, it's like a stage curtain. You're like, is all the world a play?
Like it's just darkness, and I get scared.
I don't like it. Well, that's exciting. Hopefully, in the near future, you can talk about those things /thing.
Yeah.
Nick, how about yourself? What have you?
Yeah,
been
so
doing?
I for Tuesday, Jen and I streamed Civilization 7.
Oh yeah, how was that?
Oh yeah.
Is that
Which
tough?
I
That's
have-
tough game to stream, right?
Surprisingly not. Tough at the beginning because I was like having to read a lot of what they call the Civilopedia and understanding all the different mechanics of the game, which I don't fully understand yet. But I have not played a Civilization game since like Civilization Revolution, which was all the way back on the 360, if you remember
That
that
was kind
one.
of like a simplified version, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was kind of like at the time when like all those simplified RTS games were coming out for the 360. Halo Wars, Battlefield Earth 2, Command and Conquer 3, Tiberium. So I've never really gotten into one of the more complex ones on PC. And apparently, what actually got me more interested in playing this one is that a lot of reviews compared it to Civilization Revolution. That it's a bit easier to pick up and play. The UI is designed for consoles in mind because it's coming out on consoles as well. It's already out on consoles as well. Apparently, it plays pretty good on the Steam Deck, which has me excited and a little bit worried because I was at 2 hours flew by on that stream. One, because Jen is a great co-host to stream with. And two, I made it my ultimate goal to destroy this little independent town as they kept attacking me. And so I very much got into the loop of the turns and having to strategize quickly, making all these decisions, laughing at some of the goofy stuff that happened. So I definitely want to play more of it. Like I had a really good time with it, and I gotta see how it runs on my. I don't have a Steam Deck. I have the Lenovo Legion Go, but if it runs well on there, I have a good feeling this will be my new fall asleep playing game.
That's cool. Yeah, some folks in chat were mentioning. I saw it's been getting a lot of like mixed user reviews and sort of. I think hardcore fans are a little upset at it. Do you know why?
I haven't looked that deep into it, but I think like a lot of it comes down to the simplification of things to make the game more accessible to people like me that haven't played a Civ game in a long time getting in.
Yeah.
So I don't know all the things they're mad about. I think there's some performance issues. I know people were mad about the crossplay thing being taken down, but it was a bug they found in their early access release. So they basically took down crossplay to fix it, and then they'll bring it right back.
So you have to pay more to play the game early to play a game that has got bugs that you need to. You have to pay more to QA. QA game.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of folks are upset at PC UI issues. How do you not get that down? I know UI is a difficult thing.
Well, again, it's because of the UI's design. It's because they built this game multi-platform. All the other Civ games have just come straight to PC. So I don't think they designed like two different UI systems for each version.
It's almost like they should, right?
Maybe
like they should have like one for the hardcore PC folks, and then a simplified version for console. I don't know, almost like mouse and keyboard versus controller, like how shooters play differently on different platforms.
I mean, maybe it's not that serious. Like maybe it's just
the most hardcore of hardcore.
This is what I'm used to, and it's not this.
Yeah.
So I'm mad, but not to say that that's what it is. Like maybe that's what it is.
Sure, it would be like if any of the franchises that we love, if there was like Casey, if like they took Monster Hunter or something and they like dumbed down certain things to try to broaden its appeal, it might have more people being like, "Oh, it's user friendly," and you'd be like, "What the fuck have you done to my series?"
Like they literally did that with Rise. Like when it went from World to Rise, they dumbed down and stripped out a lot of stuff, and I was a little miffed at it, but then got used to it. I was like, I see why they did this for this version.
Yeah. I'm curious. I know from some other folks I know who play the Civ games, they've said that some of the games often it's one of those things where it launches in sort of like a vanilla phase, and then they fix things up, and then a couple weeks, months, year down the road or something, the game is like what the game is when you think of it. But it just sounds like that's that's kind of a it's tough to launch like that in 2025. I feel like you can't. There's no free passes.
Yes, I think like I said, I'm not super in the know on all the issues that people have with it. I know it's a little bit buggy and has the usual trappings of these super complex games that don't launch in the most perfect state. Definitely not a broken game or anything like that. I think there's just kinks for them to work out. And they always support Civ games well, so I'm not too worried about it.
What's up with this VR version? You can try that?
Is
that any good?
I have not tried that. It does look very interesting.
You don't know a table that big. You'd have a big ass table. Look how big that table is.
Do you need a physical table?
I don't know. It looks like they've got a big fucking King Arthur table.
They can't just make the table out of VR. Do you need an actual table?
Yeah, are you sure that's a real table, Marty?
There's no way to know. I don't know if any of this is real. the fucking Dayquil and Nightquil are both kicking
in. One other game I want to talk about that I saw on Instagram, and I was like, oh, I need to try this because that looks goofy as hell.
It's on Instagram.
Yeah, well, it's not on Instagram. I saw it
games on Instagram.
So I've been playing this demo of this game called Half Sword.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I've seen the videos.
Yeah. So this is a like dueling, physics-based dueling game with like really goofy ragdoll physics and a really intricate gore system to the point like you can rip people's guts out. And I've been playing it. I played this demo for 2 hours last night. It's real stupid. I really like it.
Silly.
It's like the videos I've seen have been absolutely hilarious. So like I understand the appeal for sure.
Jolie says, "What ass sword? No, it's called half, like halfling, half sword." But yeah, there was a tech demo, and I started that. I was like, I've seen a bunch of this on Twitter. Why can't I play this or Instagram? And then I realized there's a playtest going on, which you can sign up for and get immediate access to right through Steam. So if this looks like something you want to try, it's available right now, and it is kind of stupidly addicting and very stupid and very fun.
Yeah, I'd definitely try this.
Yeah, they look shiny.
They are wearing metal armor. Yeah,
I mean, this looks incredibly shiny. Like this is everyone's first fight.
But it's really brutal though. Like when you hurt somebody in that game, like they start screaming bloody murder. They'll run away from you, and like when you can literally get your weapon like stuck in them and then like just rip open.
The developer, Half Sword Games, they know what's going on. They know what butters their bread.
But what was that other dueling game we played? We sponsored it one time. Die by the Sword. Yeah, it's kind of. Oh no, I don't remember what it's called. We played a couple of these.
Something Quartet.
Oh yeah,
Hellish Court.
Hellish Court. Yeah. It's kind of like that, except this is way more ragdoll physics. And I will maintain until I die. Ragdoll physics makes every game better. Doesn't matter what it is.
You talk about pain. I'm leaving.
Pain is.
Where's our pain remaster?
The lifeblood.
Where's our pain remaster, Sony? Anything else?
Nope, that's it. Sir George Lucas. That's why I finished Kingdom Come Deliverance. I did. I have a video essay on the way from that. It was going to be out this week, but it needs to cook a little bit more. So we'll have it out early next week on Tuesday, probably.
Still excited about that game. People still playing that game.
I love it.
Nice.
Congrats, Casey, and to all the hard games out there.
Yeah, we did it, Joe.
We did it, Joe.
We released a banger.
Speaking of hard games, Casey, what do you got in the pipeline? What can folks check out? Where can folks find you? All that jazz.
They can find me all over the socials at Sigma Gears 9. Not so much on Twitter anymore. I've given up. But all the other places you can probably find me. We did the Newlywed Game stream last Friday with me, my fiance Jesse, his wife Devin, Jamate, and Jess. It was a ton of fun. You can still watch the VOD either on my Twitch or on the Open Party YouTube channel. I had a review come out last week as well for Eternal Strands, so check that out if you haven't already.
Yeah, that was great.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. All the regular streams, like Marty and I will be back tomorrow for more Super Metroid. Nothing this Friday in terms of wedding streams though, because it's Valentine's Day, and that would be real. Someone would be real mad at me if we had to stream on Valentine's Day.
Are you guys gonna go to dinner?
Probably. Yeah, that's probably the safest bet.
Pizzeria? Don't go to the pizzeria.
No, like a
Five Nights at
pizza?
Freddy's, the Mimic. Don't go to that place.
As long as the Mimic's not the pizza, we'll be fine.
That's true.
Damn, what was I gonna say? Adventures Nigh, season 4,
So premiere.
premiering this Saturday. Get hype, everybody! Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your enemies. Sometimes they need a break. Maybe that's why they're enemies with you. They don't have anything nice in their life.
This could be the truce,
Yeah.
like that one Christmas Day truce in World War One.
Yeah.
Yeah. And get on
Super
Patreon
hype.
to support that show if you're not already, because we need it.
Hell
Yes,
yeah!
please, support.
That's
We're doing
what is that? 10 a.m. Central on Saturday.
I'll probably schedule it for 11, just so more
11
people are awake. But it will be an actual premiere where you get to watch it together. So
Yeah.
there be square.
Nice. Everyone watch it with your,
And
get
that's
your fucking
it.
cereal.
That's
It seems like it's like a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
With more swearing.
A lot more, actually, like a decent amount more swearing.
And lots of weird sexual innuendos from Yahtzee.
Yeah, so maybe it's not too much like a.
This is an MA kids show.
Yeah. Nick, what do you have going on tomorrow, or just the rest of your life?
Well, just trying to
Life for that
procreate a NHL child at some point. Damn it. Friday, new episode of Unpacked. Working on that right now. And then next week I'll have my essay out on Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. So I'm working on those two things. And then, premiere of Adventures Nigh on Saturday. And then all of our normal next week, Jenna and I will be streaming Avowed on Tuesday. Checking that out for the first time.
Oh, very cool. Man, this is a big month for games.
Yeah, Yahtzee said in his review that it's like a dry period for games. Like, there's been a big game every week, Yahtzee.
Yeah, there's just stuff Yahtzee will not play.
Yeah. But that was also, he writes that review, that was like two or 3 weeks ago, right?
It's been a busy week every 2 or 3 weeks. Every week.
I don't know. Why am I defending him?
Yeah. Don't defend Yahtzee.
What am I doing? He doesn't need me. On my front, this isn't on my front. No Lies of P tomorrow. Jack is under the weather. He's feeling, I believe his voice is even worse than my voice is, and my voice is terrible.
It's just the whole state is sick.
Just the whole state, yeah. So people are trying to blame me for Jack, and I can't be true. I haven't seen Jack since Omar's wedding.
If we get sick, if I get sick or Omar gets sick, we'll know it's from the Leeds calls and you being in there.
I wasn't in the Leeds call this week.
Fuck, you're right.
Got him.
I was sick.
Okay, so you will know if it's from this podcast then.
Yeah. So RPG help desk should be at the normal time on Twitch tomorrow, and then like Casey mentioned, Metroid Prime or Super Metroid. We're probably halfway through, so probably two more streamies, and they got to be announcing Metroid Prime 2 at some point. If not, we'll just find more
Before
Metroids
April?
to stream. More Metroids to stream. I think there's gonna be a February mini direct, like a little sprinkling, just a little
All right.
tickling.
I don't like that you did that.
It's just gonna be a little tickling. And then Friday, like Nick mentioned, Unpacked and DevHeads on Friday. So tune in for that. I had a video essay go up last week on Citizen Sleeper 2. I was really happy with that. Jesse Gleason did an excellent job of editing that. And then I think we could say on Monday, Archive is back.
Yeah.
So thanks for the calling. Speaking of Jesse Schwab absolutely knocked it out of the park with that one. Very excited for that. And then Archive should be back at a more regular cadence, as opposed to one and then another one a month later and then none for 6 months. So I'm hoping to keep a slightly more regular cadence on that, but that should be Monday morning. Tune in for that. Very excited for that. And then all the other regular normal stuff. There you go. Easy peasy. I think that's it for us. We did it.
Yeah.
This was Firelink episode
It's a shorter
54.
episode.
This was oh my god, I can't believe it. It felt good. It was just running down. It was very easy. We just ran down the list of things. I think every episode should just be a big list.
Is it?
Yeah, it is kind of a big list. Yeah.
Roast the executives and then go on the list.
There you go. So for Nick and Casey and Eric, this was Marty. This was Firelink episode number 54. Thank you all so much for tuning in, either live here or listening on your podcast service of choice. Again, apologies if I was sick or low energy. I'll be better by next week, or I'll be dead. So either way, it'll be better next week. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful rest of your evenings, and we'll see you all later. Bye, everyone.
I'd hope you see everybody later.
I'm gonna see everyone in your fucking dreams.